And welcome back, yours truly, Anthony Parker Alexander, as I try to get my seating right. You're watching Midnight at the Oasis with yours truly, Anthony Parker Alexander. It's under the umbrella of keeping it honest with, of course, yours truly, Anthony Parker Alexander. We have a very interesting show today. We're on every time at this time. So tell your friends, like, share, make sure you subscribe. We thank you for the people that are subscribing. We thank you for helping us build and grow. As we continue to grow, you continue to grow. So keep it coming. Thank you again for responding. Going to my comments. We got some comments about some of the shows we've been doing. We do long form, we do short form. We go from, man, as short as 5 seconds to as long as 3 hours. But from the long to the short, you can see how much we put into these shows. So if you've been watching, tell your friends. We're live every time at this time, every day, literally. And if you're in a rewatch, make sure you like and subscribe and pass it on too. We talk about subjects with a Parker twist. We talk about the events of the day. We talk about the events going into the next day. But before we get into that, what rhymes with day? We say a prayer. That doesn't rhyme with day though, but we're going to say a prayer anyway. Dear God, we thank you for going through this day. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but at the end of the day, as long as we have whoever you believe in at your side and at our side to motivate us, to engage us, and to make us feel good as we go through the day and the evening, we thank you. Amen. So, for people that don't believe in God, use whatever you believe in, as we're saying the prayer, that makes you feel good. I would love to have a show where we talk about different people and their um, religion. I have people who are atheists, and sometimes we have engaging talks because I like to see what's going on in that other mind. But I would love to do a show with people in different religions and not. Excuse me. So stay tuned for that. So, excuse me. Show we're going to deal with today. We're going to pay tribute and give you this interview that you might not have seen. Remember the young man that was killed at the Donald Trump rally? Make sure I get his name right. Corey Comparator. I hope I got that name right. So recently, his wife was interviewed and his kids. And people haven't really talked about, well, how's his family doing? Yeah, Donald Trump and they gave him a lot of money. But when you see this interview, we're going to look at it together. They don't care about the money. They want their dad and husband back. So we're going to play that interview. And we're going to talk about, it's election season. It's crazy. It's crazy. One thing that I do, sometimes I pronounce Kamala or Kamala. I pronounce her name wrong. You ever have a name, maybe it's your own, where people can't pronounce your name right. So you just let it flow. So there was this interview on CNN where these people were talking, and this lady mispronounced Miss Harris's name. That's kind of a closer bet. Just say VP Harris. And when she said her name wrong, the interview went crazy. The host didn't know what to do. The guests were like bringing up, well, you're saying this only because she's black, you're not respecting her. Maybe she's saying that because she just couldn't pronounce her name or remember it right. So we're going to play that interview too. This week, we're ending up a crazy week. There's been rallies all across, and Vice President Harris gave her economic platform today. We aired some of it so you can get a look at it, but we're going to do it again where we're going to make commentary on it. It's about a half hour rally that she did. And some people say it was one of the greatest rallies. Other people say it was the worst rally, worst proposal ever. And giving people 25,000 extra for home ownership. Some people say it's just going to make home ownership go even higher. And so there's pros and cons. So we're going to break that down on another show. But remember, don't believe everything you say. Use things as cliff notes. Even our show, whatever information we give you, just go check it out for yourself to make sure. We give you the left, we give you the right sides. And at the end of the day, hopefully you decide. But if you're upset, well, you know what? I don't want to say too bad. We've given you the truth. So I'm going to give you some interesting stories. You let me know what you think about it. So North Korea, they will reopen its international tourism this winter, having closed its borders to most tourists during the COVID pandemic. How many people really are going to North Korea? Wow. So if you're going there, and if you've gone there, drop me a line. Let me know how it was. I talked about the debates coming up, and I thought it's kind of interesting. VP debates are kind of coming up. So they have dates. So Tim Walz said he has agreed to participate in a VP debate. This is taking place on CBS News on October 1st. So Walz, he posted on social media saying that he's going to debate J.D. Vance. I can't wait for that. You know, on the show, we talked a lot about Walz and his military service. And you know that Vance is going to ask him that. And if you look at some of my clips, you know I've dealt with a lot of Vance and Walz as far as videos. So they offered, excuse me, the candidates 2 dates in September and 2 dates in October as options for a debate in New York City. So Vance said he's ready to debate his opponent, Walz. But he didn't commit to a date besides the October 1st, I think. Saying he wants to go over the rules first. Vice presidential candidate right now and trying to run for President Harris, they've agreed to debate on ABC News on September 10th. And it will be the second debate of the year and of this cycle following the first one where Joe Biden really didn't know where he was at. And I played a clip yesterday where Donald Trump said debates don't matter. Well, you know what? Look what happened. Look what happened now to Joe Biden. He looked confused. He was stuttering. He seemed ill. You could barely hear him talking, and he was coughing. And if he hadn't had that debate in front of the American public, maybe he'd still be running today, and Kamala would still be running as a VP. We don't know. So a lot of people are saying, too, as far as the polls are, some polls are giving Ms. Harris a win over these 7 states where when Joe Biden was running, Trump was winning. This is going to go down to the wire. We just don't know who's going to win. Go out and vote. That's all I need to say. Go out and vote. Vote with your heart. Vote with your stomach, like Donald Trump says. Are you better today than you were 3 years ago? If you are better today, then you vote for Biden. Not Biden, I'm so used to saying Biden. Then you vote for Ms. Harris. If you're not better today, then you go to Trump. Text me, let me know. And it's interesting because most of the people that I've gotten on my comments, most of them have been Trump supporters. So I'm going to read you a comment. See if I can pull it up here. Kamala's Truths. I did a video about Kamala's Truths. And let me see. This is what I got, one of the responses. It wasn't her directly, but it was somebody she had charge over. Consequently, she was definitely still responsible for making sure an innocent man didn't go to jail, and she 100% absolutely failed. And that was a comment that was referring to a video I posted about her not stepping aside with a guy that was on death row. And if you want to know more about it, look up my information. I've got shorts, I've got longs, I've got real longs, I've got real shorts. And then, make a comment like some of these people do. I really appreciate it. So that's one of the ones that I got. So this story, some people are still paying for what's happening in the Hamas war. Some people are for it, some people are against it. So Columbia University president Shafiq is stepping down months after protests over the Israel-Hamas war gripped the campus. But then it gripped campuses all over the place. It kind of died down a little bit in the summer, but now school's starting again. And are there going to be more protests? Some schools have said, you know what, you're protesting, you're not graduating. They had issues over that this past summer. Kind of died. What's going to be happening now? So Shafiq's cited progress during her tenure, but said it has also been a period of turmoil where it has been difficult to overcome divergent views across our community. Yes, because everybody has their opinion of this war. Either they're for it or against it. So pressure it's been building for months for her to step down, but she didn't want to. So she came under criticism after authorizing arrests on campus and for her house testimony over the university's handling of anti-Semitism. So now she's just stepping down. How many presidents of universities are still out there that are feeling the pressure that haven't stepped down? Is it going to be worse when school starts again because it's starting now, because there's going to be protesters? Or is it eventually going to get settled? What is Ms. Harris's views on this? Is she for or against this? Are people going to vote because of what's happening in this war too? Are people going to vote for Trump for this? Because Trump says he can fix everything. Or are people going to vote for Harris because she says she can fix everything? So, what do you think? Let me know. So, Boris Lemako, this is a Ukrainian cafe owner. He supports his country's cross-border incursion into Russia. So he's for that. And you know what? Ukraine was a small country that could or would, and it kept getting bombarded by Russia. And everybody's like, oh, this war is going to be over quick because you got Russia right here, you got Ukraine right here. But they kept, fighting. They kept fighting back, which was good. Big brother, little brother, David and Goliath. And it's been going on for a while now. And you're wondering, wow, how is Ukraine surviving? So, the Ukrainian president, I mean, he's all across the world asking for money. We've been giving him money. Other countries have been giving him money. Maybe that's why he's been surviving. So I've said this on another show not too long ago. Ukraine and Russia, they got together, their leaders, and said, okay, we might do a ceasefire, a little peace thing going on. Because, Russia is like a big guy. So after they did their peace a little bit, then Ukraine went into their country and started going after them. So now the Russian president says, you know what? We were trying to do peace for a minute. I just wanted a part of Ukraine. Now you take me off and I want all of it. So because Ukraine did that, is America and other countries going to support Ukraine because they went into that country and made Russia even mad? So stay tuned for that. You're watching Keeping It Honest. Midnight at the Oasis with yours truly, Anthony Parker Alexander. So, like I just had, trouble with the names of the shows that I do because I do keep it honest. I'm doing Midnight at the Oasis. How many people pronounce Miss Harris's name wrong? Is it Kamala? Is it Kamala? Hmm. So if and I tend to do that too. I tend to do that too. I've had people call me Anthony Parker, Anthony Perkins from um, the one crazy guy that was in the movie Alfred Hitchcock. I've had people call me um, Anthony Anderson, but my name is Anthony Parker. So how many people, if you have an interesting name, and there's an origin to Kamala's name that we don't know, which I've learned today. So, and this is crazy too that I'm about to show you. So we have this clip coming up. And this clip, they were talking about, and it started off talking about Trump and the things that he does and his policies. And they were talking about how he strays away from economic messages, but he gives insults. And they're like, okay, Trump, you might lose because one, you're always insulting. And maybe stop insulting and go with the policies. So he's been doing, Q&As past couple of weeks. And it's interesting because he's been doing the Q&As, been putting it his way. We're going to clean up some of those things he got wrong too. I'm a fair and equal annoyer. So I try to get facts with whichever side. But he had a press conference with Elon Musk, who I'm not a fan of, on X. And I'm not going to say what it was formerly of, because if you're that rich, Elon, then people still shouldn't have to say what it used to be. So it's X. X marks the spot. So he was on his show, and he's supporting Trump, but he doesn't like Miss Harris because he says some things which I think is pretty disrespectful and everything. And I've aired some of them just so you could see. But Donald Trump on that show, he said some wrong things that weren't true, and we're going to talk about that on another show. So this is CNN, and they're discussing Trump, and then they go into Miss Harris, and then one of the politicians on there mispronounces her name, and from there it went crazy. You're watching Midnight at the Oasis with yours truly, Anthony Parker Alexander.
Trump says he's not ranting, but this press conference was a great example of a speech littered with all the things that he's been focused on for a long, long time. Is he capable, really, of staying completely on message here?
No, of course not. This was not a press conference, first of all. This was a campaign rally speech. He even had his supporters there at Bedminster, and he fooled the press once again, by claiming he was going to have a press conference. He spoke for 45 minutes before he even allowed a question to be asked. And when he did, he was just filled with lies over again. He made this comment about, what is it, more than 100% of new jobs that are created.
I'll play it. So just so you don't have to paraphrase what it was. Listen.
Virtually 100% of the net job creation in the last year has gone to migrants. You know that?
So 100%. 100%. You think about that. That's like all. So all the jobs have gone to migrants. Now we know that's not true. But as this panel continues, it's going to go haywire. And where is the host to stop this? But it started with Donald Trump. Again, use these as cliff notes. Don't believe everything you say, no matter what politician. Read, people. Research. Don't just let one person say something and it's the Bible. Okay? Unless it's the Bible, even research that. But believe it. So here's Trump.
Most of the job creation has gone to migrants. In fact, I've heard that substantially more than.
Maya knows how quality care can bring out a smile. Good thing Aspen Dental offers affordable.
And I hate it.
Beyond the number of 100%.
I hate it when commercials come up. So beyond 100%. Now, is there such a number? And Donald Trump is into numbers. I'm into numbers too. But migrants have gotten more than 100% of the jobs. Now, how does that make sense? Make math.
Beyond a number of
I
100%.
guess I guess I need my calculator so I can go shoplifting with Donald Trump, because clearly you can't have more than 100% of jobs going to migrants. You can't even have 100% of new jobs going to migrants. It's not only mathematically impossible, it's just plain stupid.
And then also, they're going to talk about the stealing. And I think the $950 that you could just go to stores and steal that much and you won't go to jail, because that's what people are doing. That's what Donald says. That's what Trump says.
And how does this guy get taken seriously? How is it that he is a presidential candidate for the highest office in our country when he can't even complete a press conference without spewing lies and misinformation and obvious falsehoods?
Well, if you want to talk about misinformation, we can talk about Kamala Harris's Google ads.
So watch her. She's a well-known politician. And listen how the media, good and bad, Democrats or Republicans, and people with money, and anything that you use to get information out there, politicians can correct it and put their own kind of spin. So what was supposed to be a press conference for Donald Trump was more or less a rally. And he had the press there. And he was able to put a spin on everything. So that was smart on his part. Meanwhile, where's Miss Harris at in her press conference?
Like literally taking headlines from mainstream media and rewriting them, which should be against Google Ads policies. But what's stupid is allowing people, criminals, to go into stores in California and not being able to arrest them unless it's $900 or $950 and more.
So yeah, so she's saying over $900 and police aren't arresting people. So they're doing that. I mean, really? Okay, if you go to a store and you steal $10, you're going to get in trouble. So you're not arresting people that they can steal, and they can steal up to $950. That's what Trump has said. Some people believe that. Let's listen in.
And you
that's
see
not actually
videos,
what's true.
and you see
That's not
videos
actually
of
what the
people
law is.
going into stores in these blue cities and blue states, stealing merchandise and not being stopped. We've all seen these videos.
So
But
should Donald Trump not be allowed to go into a store because he's a convicted criminal?
Well, I don't think anybody at this table should be surprised that Donald Trump stood up for 45 minutes, an hour or more, taking questions, giving a speech. Because if you're holding your breath for an Oscar nod, that he did that. Don't hold your breath, because no one's going to believe you. This is what he does. He stands, he gives speeches, he takes the questions, he gives the answers. And to date, more than 3 weeks in, Kamala Harris hasn't given a single interview. She hasn't come on your program. She's not answering questions.
It's
She's not
Kamala,
giving
first
speeches.
of all. It's not Kamala. It's Kamala.
So here is where the discussion gets crazy. So she's Nancy Mace, and she's kind of like well known, but she mispronounced Miss Harris's name. And was it intentional? Well, it pretty much ticked off everybody on this set.
And she's not yet the candidate. She's only been in office, only been a candidate for 3.5 weeks.
She's been vice president for 3.5 years.
And Trump went a whole primary season without even taking and doing a debate.
And
So, you know,
it's stupid because the Republicans in this country
but it's a
voted
false.
for him, nominated him. She didn't earn a single vote in the Republican.
But
in the
you know,
Democrat
it's a
primary.
false equivalence between what Donald Trump is doing as an autocrat, as a fascist, as a dictatorially inclined man. The man's aspirations are huge.
So this guy right here, Michael Eric Dyson. I remember years ago when I was starting out in broadcasting. He's a well-known author, political activist, very smart man. He's kind of around Dr. Cornel West, one of those Afrocentric people that is really smart. There are some people that love that guy. He's written a bunch of great books. There's some people that love that guy, but there are also some people that hate this guy because in some people's eyes, he sounds like a know-it-all. But watch how he gets upset on the pronunciation of Miss Harris's name.
But the point is that Donald Trump has lied so repeatedly that we normalize his mendacity, his misogyny, his hatred for the ordinary citizen who happens to think logically about these issues. Now, he's got a whole bunch of stuff from the stores up there. He doesn't refer to it. His economic policies are vapid. They are empty. He has nothing to say.
She has no policies on her website at all. She's got more pronouns.
She's a 9
Donald
pronouns
Trump
on her website.
sits there and tells lie after lie, and he gets normalized by good people like y'all who don't call him out on his bull.
Kamala Harris has more pronouns on her website than she does policy.
So this guy, he's not a fan. I think he's a Republican. He doesn't like Kamala. But if you go on her website, go in there tomorrow. I will go in there. We'll go in there, maybe look together. Okay, that should be fun. And we'll see what she has on that website. Because she's running for president and you don't have a website. I got a website. Okay. Now you're going to put it up because of the pressure. We need to see what your policies are. Okay. You also have been around since Biden has been around, and meaning Miss Harris. And you also said, I stick by him. He's my president. I love Joe. Joe has not lost a beat, but we as the American public saw that he lost a beat. The media saw that he lost a beat. The White House corps saw that he lost a beat, but they really didn't ask any questions. There are backdoor deals in politics where people will say, especially to the media, if you want an interview with Kamala, well, come on. I did it right there. I don't want them coming after me. Miss Harris, you want an interview with Miss Harris? You better not look into anything that she's done. Have people given in to that? People did do that with Barack Obama. You don't believe me? Watch one of my shows where I talked about it, and I talked about a guy. I had on my show a guy who wrote a book about Obama, and he was with Obama. So politics, it's a tough route. Race, it's a tough route. And not everything is race-oriented, but there have been some people, and I put it on the show, where people say, for America, we're not ready for a black woman. We're not ready for a woman, period, as president. We would literally have Donald Trump again before we would have Miss Harris. I, of course, wanted Susan Rice. She was in the Obama or Clinton administration. And if you ever hear her talk, she knows all about foreign issues. And she can be tough. I don't think she laughs. And she's the author of one or two books. But she would have been my favorite if it had not have been Miss Harris back in 2016.
The thing she has on there is donate. She's running a Seinfeld campaign. The show is about nothing.
Mm-hmm.
No,
But-
absolutely.
And she's winning, right?
Here's
So, yeah.
She's not winning, actually.
She's aided and abetted by mainstream media. If you saw the headline by a neighboring network a couple weeks ago, when Donald Trump came out with his no taxes on tips policy, all of the headlines on mainstream media were derogatory. Kamala Harris comes out with her no taxes.
Kamala
Harris comes out with her policies on
Here we go. The name game.
no taxes on tips, which is Donald Trump's policy, by the way. All of the headlines on mainstream media were positive and glorious and thoughtful.
I guess y'all are
It's
standing
just a
up for him
different
because he
standard.
didn't say any of this today.
Well,
Everything
this
you're
is
saying
this
is
a
nothing he's
question.
ever said.
One of the things that we learned about her policy that she's going to roll out is support for a ban on price gouging.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think reasonable people would ask, what does that mean?
Yeah, what is price gouging? Is that a good thing? Does that mean you're going to stop the prices from rising up? Inflation is going crazy. But again, I'm looking at devil's advocate. You've been out there for 3.5 years, you and Joe. And why hasn't that already been done? Okay. The school issue. People paying back school loans. All Biden had to do was just sign his name. We went through all that. Are you trying to give us things now because his term is ending, or you're promising things because you may get your term? Politics sometimes isn't really about caring about people. It's about the politicians caring about themselves.
what does that really mean? And how is the government going to be involved in it? Here's Noah Rothman in the National Review. He describes this policy as a rank pander to the economically illiterate. And despite the presence of many who fit that description in Congress, they understand that allowing the executive branch to functionally set prices is a brain dead idea that would only hurt consumers in the long run.
So right there, that person says that if they do this deal, and this is their first policy proposal, as far as gouging too, that it would hurt us in the long run. Well, where are the studies at that say that? Let's see some studies. Maybe she's right. Maybe it won't hurt us. But you need to put it out there for the American people to see what you're talking about.
I mean, is this just a ploy? Because it sounds kind of like it.
Well, look, if you like it, it's called good policy. If you don't like it, you call it pandering.
But is it really policy? I mean, price gouging?
Look, if she could do that, Lord have mercy. I mean, she might need to be the Pope as opposed to the president, but she's able at least to set the tone. Here's what's important. First of all, in terms of Kamala not speaking about Vice President Harris speaking about issues, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Looked like he was having trouble with her name, Kamala. Okay, then he said Vice President Harris. All right, I'm just saying.
Everybody has said that what she is doing is genius in the sense she's out trumping Trump. So Trump is
Her
pissed.
campaign is being operated from a
but
basement.
Well,
She's
hold on.
not
Let me
out
just
there.
finish.
She's not answering
Trump
questions.
is being
She's not doing anything.
I think she's dancing a lot, okay, and evading the press a lot. But they're going to continue to get heated.
Trump is being undermined by Trumpian-like politics in the sense that what she's done is, I understand when I'm going to speak, I understand what I'm going to say. She's going to form her policies and she's going to articulate them. Now, whether we agree with them or not is another thing. The point is the strategy is not backfiring on her. Number two, in terms of polls, the polls are a statistical dead heat. You say that means that she's losing. I'm saying for Donald Trump to have already been president once and coming back with the same reruns, Donald Trump is in a very vulnerable position.
Talk about rerun. Kamala's.
Oh, you had it right. You almost got it.
I will say Kamala's name any way that I want to.
No,
but Kamala's.
you mispronounced.
And maybe she shouldn't have said that. I'll say it any way I want to. Now that's what ticked those people off. I'll say it any way that I want to. Well, just say it the right way. I'm with them on that, though.
Announcer, you also misjudged.
I just did, and I'll do it again.
Mispronouncing her name.
That's a
Kamala's
refusal to
policy.
acknowledge her humanity.
If I purposely mispronounce your name, that would not be appropriate.
Policies are Joe Biden's policies. She owns
You're
it.
normalizing that kind of viciousness, man.
33 times.
But it's the
She was the
disrespect.
deciding vote. She was
the
the
vice
on
president,
Joe
though.
Biden's bill. She
we
was
know
33
that-
times the deciding vote on Joe Biden's bills in the Senate.
And let me just say this, because this Congresswoman is a wonderful human being. But when you disrespect Kamala Harris by saying you will call her whatever you want, I know you don't intend it to be that way. That's the history and legacy of white disregard for the humanity of Black people.
So was she disrespecting her and that was a racial thing, or she pretty much got frustrated and said, look, I can't really pronounce her name right. I'm going to say whatever I wanted, and a little bit of frustration. But was she doing this disrespectful as a white person to a Black person, as Michael Eric Dyson says, because he is pro-African American, but some people think he isn't. But he can tell you everything about the history of Black people. Okay? He's made his money by doing that. Whether it's been honest, heartfelt, it's for, somebody watching him to understand that. I interviewed him years ago when he was kind of not starting out, but he was in his little power fame where he was the man to speak to. It was him and Dr. Cornel West. So they look at race and people talking about Black people, I guess, in a little different intellectual, maybe degrading way when somebody says something that it just triggers them. But mispronouncing Kamala's name, and I did it. Should you get heat on that? Well, like myself too, we need to get to know how to pronounce her name right.
Now you're calling me racist.
I didn't say. I just said
That
you
is
weren't a
BS.
racist.
That is
No,
complete
you don't have to
BS.
intend racism
No,
to
no, no. You are
accomplish it.
intending that I
Your
am
disrespect
racist,
of Kamala
and
Harris
that
is part and
offensive,
parcel of a
why can't
and
tradition.
it's
you just-
wrong.
Disrespect.
Why
It's
can't you just,
offensive,
Congresswoman?
and
Why can't you
it's
just?
offensive.
Why
That
can't
I'm
is
not calling you a
disgusting.
racist.
Why
I'm
can't
saying
You are.
what the
You are.
practice is
You
racist.
are. You
Why
absolutely
can't you
are.
just
The
hear
practice
what
is
I'm
racist.
saying?
let me get it
Disrespecting.
here.
No, what's disgusting
That
is
is
your
disgusting.
disrespect of her.
Professor.
This gentleman said,
You know what?
I
You know
didn't
what's
know her name.
disgusting
He's
to
trying
women
to do
is
it.
her disrespect of women. She doesn't know what a woman is. And if 25 years ago,
White
I
women don't
became-
have the ability to tell black women who paid the price of blood to make this country what it is to tell them they're not real women.
20
So that's interesting. So white women can't say to black women, you don't know what a black woman is because we fought and done everything different and harder than a white woman. That's interesting, Michael, Eric Dyson. So she's making comments. How many people feel the same way she does? How many people feel the same way he does? You can't disrespect a black woman by saying what? I mean, the lady was talking about pretty much abortion and the rights and everything. And he said, well, you know what? You can't really disrespect a black woman. Well, you can't really disrespect anybody. So is this a little bit overheated?
25
They
years
care
ago,
for your babies
25
and
years ago,
respected
I
your
became
humanity.
the first woman to graduate from the Citadel, the military college of South Carolina. I
So call
fought
her
my
name
way
right.
through it.
So
tooth
pronounce
and
her
nail,
name
blood,
right.
sweat,
Let
and
me
tears.
So
actually
pronounce her name
And
right.
Kamala Harris, if I were
Kamala,
a man,
Kamala. You said
I
it
will
We don't
say
call you Nancy
anything that I
Nancy.
want.
It's
Come on,
Kamala.
it's
You're
Kamala.
doing this
You
on
disrespect-
purpose,
I am
That's
Congresswoman.
not.
disrespectful.
Just a second.
You can't expect people to
If
respect
a
your
man put
service
on
if
a
you don't
skirt
respect
and walked
hers.
that stage 25 years ago,
Let me-
she
You're a
would have
white
said
woman
it. She would have
disrespecting a
taken
black
that
woman. That is
achievement away from
problematic.
women.
Professor Dyson, let me
So that's interesting. Wow. Keeping it honest, yours truly, Anthony Parker Alexander. Was she disrespecting her? Was she disrespecting Miss Harris? Wow. He literally said, you are disrespecting this lady. What do you think about that? Leave me a message. Text me 216 702 3718. 216 702 3718. You can email yours truly, Parkerman2011 at gmail.com. Parkerman2011 at gmail.com. Wow. We got to make sure that we pronounce her name right from now on. Maybe on the show, we're just going to practice her name. I'm just going to say Miss Harris. Okay. Vice President Miss Harris, presidential candidate Harris. Miss Harris. So don't forget to hit the like, the share, and the subscribe button. All right. I don't want you guys mad at me. So like I said, I'm not even going to say her first name on this episode. So I was looking at stuff and we were talking about comments. So the one I have now, it was about a video and I put stop giggling Miss Harris. So MC Marshall said, or watching The Wizard of Oz way too much, or dancing and singing to The Wiz, Michael Jackson and Friends, while on something. So everybody has talked about her laugh or giggling. And if you notice, she's not laughing or giggling as much anymore. Now she's dead right serious. I'm going to give you another comment. It's from Joseph. If she becomes president, she'll be dealing with everything this way, giggling. We'll be the joke of the whole world. Can you see her sitting with Putin and talking to Putin? And Putin may say something and she starts giggling. I wonder now, I haven't seen her giggle since she started running for president because they probably said to her, hey, Miss Harris, we got you for president now. And that's when the laughing stopped, okay? Because now she knows how serious it is. But when you look at her, And if you caught her policy platform today, you saw how serious she was. If you haven't, look it up, keeping it honest on my show, and you'll see that we streamed her policy platform. Another episode, you'll see that we streamed it and talked about it. We fact checked what she said. We fact the legitimacy of if any of this could work. We're not like a C-SPAN. Okay, we do put a Parker twist on it. So tell your friends, look out for that. So this story coming up now. I was kind of saving this for last. If you remember, not too long ago, Donald Trump had an attempted assassination. And there were bullets flying. He got struck in the ear, supposedly, and 2 people got injured. And one of the ones died. His name is Corey Competitor. And we're going to have a clip with his family talking, because we see things happen. We don't really see the end results of things. And Corey's family was paid like millions of dollars. People contributed, and it was very sad. Secret Service, they're taking responsibility, but Corey's family says that's not good enough, that somebody should pay. My dad loved Trump. My dad said he was going to meet Trump. My dad was a good, honest, spiritual father. So after he passed away at the funeral, here was his obituary. He was 50, of Sarver. He passed away on Saturday, July 13, 2024, leaving behind a legacy of love and courage. Born on June 16, 1974, in Natara Heights, Pennsylvania, he was the son of Karen Bird and the late Carl L. Componitor. So Casey was a proud graduate of Free Point High School, class of 1992, and went on to honor his country as a dedicated 10-year veteran of the United States Army Reserve. His commitment to excellence continued in his professional life, where he excelled as a project and tooling engineer at JSP. Corey's passion for his community, shined brightly through his active membership at Cabot Church and his lifelong service at the Buffalo Volunteer Fire Department, where he notably served as chief in the early 2000s. And the question is, sometimes you look at life, why do some of the ones who really make a difference are the ones that die too soon, pass away too soon? But above all, Corey was a quintessential family man and the best girl dad. That's cool. His love for his wife, Helen, was a testament to the power of partnership and devotion. Together they raised 2 daughters, Allison and Kaylee, who will carry forward his spirit of compassion. And that's a legacy. That's what he has. Also surviving are his mother, Karen, his sisters, Kelly and Dawn, his stepbrother, Stephen, his 2 beloved Dobermans, his 2 dogs, Yvonne and Negan, and many nieces, nephews, and great nieces. Corey's life was a reflection of his faith. He was a man of God who loved Jesus with every fiber of his being. I love that. A man of God who loved Jesus with every fiber of his being. How many people can say that? His actions were guided by his unwavering belief, and he inspired those around him to live with purpose and grace. His ability to lift the spirits of everyone he encountered was unparalleled. His courage this was interesting, was not the loud, boisterous kind, of quiet resilience, the strength to be vulnerable, and a bravery to lead with love. The bravery to lead with love, because it's very hard to lead with love these days. So he really stood out. Corey's legacy is not just in the major milestones that he achieved, but in the small acts of kindness that marked his everyday life. He was quick to help those in need, never expecting anything in return, and his impact on the lives he touched was profound. Wow. His life reminds us that to be courageous is to love without limits. So, this was his obituary. And may you rest in peace, Corey. God brought an angel down here to earth to help change people's lives. And you never know. I call it the DNA. If you help somebody and you change their life around and you touch somebody, kind of like Corey did, then prayerfully they would have learned from that and they'll do the same thing. So, Corey, our hearts go with you. And what better way to continue this? To have his family pay tribute, the girls, his daughters, to their dad, and the wife to her husband. But let's not forget, they're in pain and they feel somebody should be held responsible. So I can only say a little bit about Corey, but who can say more? Not Donald Trump, you see right there, but his family. This is a total tribute to Corey.
What happened?
When the shots rang out in Butler Township, one man immediately dove to protect his wife and daughters. Corey Comparator put himself between the bullets and his family, and one of those 8 bullets fired struck Corey in the head. As America watched Secret Service scramble to protect former President Trump, Corey was taking his last breath.
He definitely was a hero. He saved his wife, he saved his child, and he was just the best guy. He was just the best.
1 month later, his widow, Helen Comparator, decided to talk exclusively with Pittsburgh's Action News 4 about what happened that day and about the love of her life.
He was just a wonderful man, and I just want everybody to, try not to remember him as the man that was shot at the rally. Just try to remember Corey as, he was a great man that was a great father. He was a great husband.
Helen and Corey married 29 years ago. They were childhood sweethearts. They started dating as sophomores in high school.
It was Valentine's Day. Corey showed up at my house with a dozen of red roses. So we just started dating. I said, "Does this mean we're dating?" He said, "Yeah, I think so." I said, "Okay."
They eventually married and had 2 daughters, Allison and Kaylee. They were also at the rally with their parents that day. They said their dad was thrilled to be going to see Trump in person for the very first time. When the shots rang out, Corey yelled for them to get down. And as he pushed Allison out of the way, a bullet struck him.
I was the one that my dad threw down. As he was throwing me down, that was when he was shot, and he ended up falling onto me. And I don't remember hearing any other shots. I don't remember feeling any other shots because, in that moment, I was just, like I said before, I was trying to take care of him. I was really confused when he was on me. And I had turned around I was confused, and I went, "Dad." And when I turned is whenever he fell down, and that's when I started screaming, and I was instantly I was trying to keep him from bleeding.
I started screaming, but in my head, I kept saying, wake up, like this is a dream, wake up. And then you realize it's not a dream and you feel like your whole world is just over.
But Helen doesn't want Corey to be remembered for this tragedy. At 16 years old, he became a volunteer firefighter and eventually a fire chief. He loved his 2 rambunctious Doberman pinschers. But his passion was bass fishing, and she shared with us his favorite fishing spot, a place they went every weekend together, even in the rain.
His answer always was, well, the fish are wet, they don't care.
But they told me most of all, he was the best girl dad.
He would put my hair in braids if I wanted my hair in braids. And when I was doing competitive cheer, he was the cool dad because he could do back handsprings. So, and as soon as everybody got wind of that, it was, you know, he had all these little girls begging him to go up and do these back handsprings on the tumble track.
Corey's firefighter gear was displayed at the Republican National Convention, which was a special honor.
That was an honor. That was a big honor. Yeah, that was a big honor.
So
I'll tell you why. All day at the rally, my husband kept saying, he's going to call me up on stage. You're going to hear him. He's going to say, Corey, come on up here. Corey, get up here. He was just joking, you know, obviously, but he kept saying that. You're going to get up. You know, he's going to call me up on stage. And we were all like, there's his moment. He's up on stage. So, yeah, he got his moment on stage.
People across the country have sent their support and prayers. There have been prayer shawls, wind chimes, and so many cards.
Tears are flowing from Americans and other countries.
A GoFundMe has raised millions of dollars for the family, but as grateful as Helen is for the money and the support, she knows it will never bring Corey back.
I talk to him anyway, and the only thing that ever comes out of my mouth is, I'm sorry this happened to you. But I know he would want me to get to the bottom of it. I know he would.
To get answers to what happened, she's hired an attorney to help her find answers and get justice.
I want justice for my husband, and I'm going to get it.
They specifically want answers from security at the rally.
I just want them to know that I really think my dad's blood is on their hands, and I hope they wake up every day thinking about what they took from our family, because we have to wake up every day and see that image of our father in our head, and no child should ever have to see that.
Michelle Wright, Pittsburgh's Action News 4.
Wow, man. So what do you think about that story? I didn't say anything. They needed to talk. What did you think about that? No family should be without literally their mom and dad. And especially like that. That guy really was a hero, an angel. I don't know the guy. You heard the story, saw me read this. You saw the kids. He saved his daughter. His daughter witnessed that. They've been offered millions of dollars, have received millions of dollars, but it can't take away from not having their dad there. A good man, somebody that was cut too short. Let's say the prayers for him and his family. Wow. Makes you think about your family, right? If you got a family, tell your family you love them. All right? Be there for each other. Family is a close bond that should never be broken. Unfortunately, some things happen in our lives and it's broken, but life is so short, as people say. They will never see their dad again. They want answers. How did this happen? How did this sniper do what he did? How did the Secret Service not do their job? Yeah, okay, they're saying we made a mistake, we're sorry. But at the end of the day, who lost? Corey lost. So prayerfully, there's a lot of Corys in the world around. And if they're not, then you be that Corey. You be that person that helps people. You be that person that has the love of God, where the Spirit has touched you to do the right thing. And sometimes the right thing is hard because society and life is hard. But if you have whoever you believe in to keep you positive in your heart, then that's who you're supposed to be. So, prayerfully, there's a Corey in all of us. Thank you. You've been watching Midnight at the Oasis. Wanted to give you something reflective, think about. Hope you enjoyed our show. We talked about Corey, had his family come on and talk. We talked about Miss Harris, Kamala or Kamala. Make sure you get those words right. There'll be a test. And we talked about the debates coming up and some other things. So tell your friends. Go to Patreon. Hope you like the show. Go to patreon.com. Type in Keeping It Honest, Anthony Parker. We have 3 tiers, kind of like PBS fundraising, as I say. We have 3 tiers, and you can contribute what you like to keep us going. We gave you information, entertainment, reflection, and different takes on different stories. You never know what we're going to do. We're on every time at this time, midnight at the Oasis. So make sure you subscribe. And if you have any comments, telephone numbers 216-702-3718, 216-702-3718. You can email me as parkerman2011@gmail.com, parkerman2011@gmail.com. Let me know. We do long shows. We do short versions. Check it out. It might be something that you could, use. And I love, like I said, the comments that you send me. So I did a video about Kamala's truth or Miss Harris' truth. And this is from Keith. She was a prosecutor. They lock you up, not let you go. The court, judge, or parole release prisoners. People were asking, what job did she do? So, also we talked about her economic policy. And we've got more on that in another video. Pray you have a good day. Pray you have a good night. In closing, keep your head up. Never look down. Always believe in yourself. And therein will lie your answer. We don't just keep it simple. We don't just keep it real. We keep it honest. Here on Midnight at the Oasis. I'm Anthony Parker Alexander. God bless.